Hey, Zidoruggy here, coming to another video review. And today, as you can see, I'll be taking a look at the 1 to 1/44 scale High Grade Destiny Gundam from Mobile Suit Gundam Seed Destiny. So to start things off, here's his size to a soda can. Pretty average for a 1 1/44 scale kit. As far as colors are concerned, it's basically what you would expect out of a Gundam type mech. Mostly white, with a bit of blue, red, black, dark gray, yellow, and then just a few extra colors unique to the unit. In this case, a odd baby blue. Never really understood that myself. Poseability is pretty good, but it is a Gundam model, so that's to be expected at this point. The head is on a ball joint and can move up and down, tilt side to side just a little bit, and turn pretty far side to side. Can also move back and forth. Sort of a chicken dance thing. There is a joint in the arms that allows the arms to move back and forth, as well as up and down just a little bit. Arms can go up that far. They could conceivably go all the way around, but the backpack gets in the way. Shoulder armor can move just a little bit. Arms can move out to the side that far. That far if you add in some of the other joints going on. Hey, stay. He has a swivel just below the shoulder. I was about to say, before his hand popped off, his arm can bend that far at one joint in the elbow. His hand is on the usual Gundam ball joint, but due to the massive back of his hand, it's a little bit limited. Can move in and out, side to side, and swivel, but again, limited a little bit by the thing on the back of his hand. As for the waist, there's a single ball joint in the middle, so you can get some side to side, back and forth, and a pretty good range of swivel. The front skirt is all one piece and can... I guess I must have clipped it when I built it. Whatever. Anyway, the front skirt can move up that far. It can move in and out a little bit, back and forth. The side skirt is just on a simple hinge and swivel, so up and down, swivel a little bit. Back skirt doesn't move. The backpack has a pretty good range of motion. First, there's these two holder bits. They have a ball joint here and a ball joint here, so you can get all kinds of motion with those. As for the wings, there is a swivel in the main part of the backpack, and then a swivel section here allows it to move back and forth just a little bit. And this main section has a hinge that can move up and down pretty far. And then this long piece can also move up and down. So you can flare the wings out really far, which helps with one of the accessories later that I'll show off. There's also this thruster that can just sort of wiggle up and down. The legs can move forward that far, back that far, out to the side really only that far, little bit of swivel at the hip, bend that far at two joints in the knee, so not too bad. The thruster on the back of the leg can wiggle up and down just a little bit. Poseability in the foot's pretty good. It can move back and forth like that. There is, as you can see, a poly cap in there, so back and forth, swivel, then a ball joint in the actual foot itself, so side to side, swivel, back and forth, all that good stuff. And then the ankle armor is just on a simple hinge. He has quite a few accessories, as you can probably see at the corner of the screen, so let's just get started. The first one is this big plasma cannon, which is actually a light green but looks sort of grayish on camera for some reason. Anyway, I'm going to show the posability of the cannon off on its own before I put it on him, because it's easier to show it this way, but this is its folded up formation. If you just take this bottom part, swing it out on this double hinge, and there it is, ready to fire. And of course, there's a handle here that can swing out on a hinge and then move down on a swivel for him to grab it and then aim it. As for storing it on him, where it normally stays, there are just these two slots there that go into tabs or rails on this little storage clip thingy. Just got to get that lined up and put it together. And there you go. And of course, you just take this and bring it down under the wing and under his arm, fold it out, and then just maneuver his hand around the handle. Of course, he also has his big sword. I think this one's called Excalibur, but I'm not entirely certain on that. Again, this is it folded up, and it can be stored on him, but I'll show that in just a minute. As for its deployed form, you take the bottom section here, fold it out. Let's get you out of the way, you're messing up the focus. And just straighten it out like that. And it's a little bit difficult to do, but there are two pieces in here that need to get folded down. Just like that. And there it is, ready to go. But of course, you have to put the beam in, and it comes with one clear pink beam that actually has a sort of sparkly texture to it, which I quite like. Anyway, so the first thing you need to do is there is a thinner tab that goes up here, and then a thicker tab that you line up into this notch down here. And there's the sword ready for him to use. Of course, actually putting it in his hand is fairly simple. Just take the back of his hand off. Put the hilt into his hand, and then put the back of his hand on. Come on. And again, there's no actual securing mechanism, so it just flops all over the place, but it's there, so that's one thing I'm not overly fond of with this guy. A lot of his bits tend to just fall off. Anyway, the sword can also be stored. There are just those tabs in that little storage pocket. Line them up with the slots on there. Press it in. Really? I'll get it in a minute. But anyway, there is the sword stored. Looks very neat. Now, of course, he also comes with two alternate hands. A right hand and a left hand, because these have these fingers splayed out to use his hand-mounted beam cannons, and getting them in is fairly simple. Just take the existing hand, pop it out of the ball socket, and then pop the new one in. And there he is, ready to shoot stuff. He also has his beam rifle, which I don't really recall seeing him use very much. He mostly stuck with those two big things. It's just molded in gray plastic. It has two moving parts. The scope can move side to side, and this foregrip can move side to side as well. Again, he can hold it just like he can hold the sword and the cannon. Just take the back of his hand off. which is much more secure on this hand than on the other one. Put the grip into his hand, and then put the back of his hand back on. And there you go. Of course, the beam rifle can be stored on him with the same storage method that a lot of the seed suits used. There is a slot on his back skirt and a tab on the rifle. You just gotta line those up, which with this huge backpack can be mildly annoying. But just line it up, push it in, and there you go. There he has his beam rifle stored. He also has a beam shield. It's just a clear, slightly tinted, clear blue piece of plastic. It's actually fairly well detailed. Got a lot of etching on there. Equipping it is, again, fairly simple. Just take this yellow piece and pop it out of his hand. Put it into the space in the middle of the beam shield, and then take the tab on the bottom and put it back into his hand. So, nothing too complex there. Now, he does have a second physical shield. It's fairly small, but it's a fairly good recreation. It's mostly dark gray plastic on the back with some light gray, yellow, and then a few stickers. And of course it has two configurations. It has the closed configuration, and you can put it into the open configuration by taking the bottom section off. There's a slot here with a tab there. Just line those up, and there it is, opened up. And it just goes onto his arm with this port right there and the post right there. It's not as impressive as his beam shield, but it's there. He also has his beam sabers / beam boomerangs. He just comes with 2 of these, and again, he can hold those just by you know, like everything else, taking the back of his hand off, putting it in, and then putting the back of his hand back in place. Got to come up with a better way to say that. Now, he does come with 2 translucent pink blades, but they're 2 different ones. He has a long blade that is used to make it a beam saber. You just take this angled tab and put it in there like, oh, no, put it the other way, in like that. And there it is as a beam saber. Or you can put this blade in, and you can now throw it as a beam boomerang. And of course, like everything else, these can be stored on him, except for the effect parts, of course. There are slots on the ends of the handles, and then tabs in there. Just get those lined up and slide them in. Come on. And just set on both sides. And now for his final accessory, the effect parts to give him the wings of light, I believe is what they're called. These large, translucent pink wings of energy. They are very big, very shiny, and they actually have some glitter inside the plastic, which is a very nice touch. Now, as for getting these on, that is a little iffy. Basically, the first thing you need to do is open up the wings. Now, there are 3 notches on these sections, 2 in the front, 1 in the back, and then 3 large notches, or 3 large slots up there. And basically what you need to do is there are tabs that stick down here that you have to line up with the notches, and then 3 tabs up here you have to line up with the slots. Personally, I find it easiest to just get the wings splayed wide open, slide it in like this, and then just sort of get those tabs onto the notches. Like I said, it is actually a little bit difficult to get everything lined up, but once you do, those tabs will line up like that, and then you just bring this down and put those 3 slots over those tabs there. And there you have his wings of light. Just let me get the other side on. And there he is with his giant glowing butterfly wings, which, you know, I kid, but they do look very, very cool. Very large wingspan. They do make him rather top-heavy, so he doesn't always stand all that well. Plus, the joints in the wings aren't exactly strong enough to hold those up in any pose besides just right down like this. I mean, if you try and put them up, they, up like that, they will stay, but they're going to droop down after a while. But they do make for a pretty cool display piece. And unlike how they're showing up on camera, I assure you that these wings are a very vibrant, bright pink. Anyway, I believe that's everything. Is that all the accessories? Yes, it is. So that finishes up my review of the 1/144th scale High Grade Destiny Gundam from Mobile Suit Gundam Seed Destiny. And I just want to remind you, if I offer a service where if there are Gundam models that you want but you don't have the time or the patience to build them, I can work out a deal to get the models, build them, and send them to you. So if that interests you, just contact me and let me know. But until next time, bye-bye.